right, guys, we're moving on. So this is very, very good news, and I do mean that. Henry Cavill confirms that he is back as Superman for future DCEU movies. And I'm going to play this clip here. It's great. I'm sorry. In a world full of people, of celebrities that hate you, be a Henry Cavill. Seriously. So this is the clip. Can we hear it? Yes.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time, but I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
There was a comment on our video about Black Adam where it said why isn't it sad that we're so beaten down by just how awful everyone is in Hollywood that just making a movie that doesn't call you names and having stars in it that don't call you names is all it takes to be accepted by by fans these days. They just don't want to be abused by you.
I mean, is it that people want Man of Steel again, or is it that they want 2013 again?
No, they want Henry Cavill. I don't believe they want 2013. In fact, if anything, I don't think they want Man of Steel. They want him to actually be in a good Superman movie. They don't give a crap about Man of Steel. They give a crap about Henry Cavill in this role. He's kind of he's their version of Ryan Reynolds and being their Deadpool, and they don't see anyone else playing Deadpool. Henry Cavill is Superman right now, and I don't see anyone replacing him.
In a way, I'm happy that this is happening because now he won't be James Bond.
That's true. We both agree.
But also, it is weird that an Englishman would be playing Superman.
That never sat right with me.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me.
He doesn't a fine American accent. He's done plenty of. There's plenty of actors that could. Didn't Robert Downey Jr. played Sherlock Holmes, and he's American. So you know what?
Man.
Take that, you incels. That's
whoa. Okay.
I was saying that doesn't bother me. It's acting. If we're gonna be they don't have to be exactly like the character. It's called acting, guys. Now it would be funnier if he did the British accent. That would be mean. That's
also
truth, justice in the American way. Let's go. Oh, speaking of which, guys, I'm not going to get completely off topic, but I do want to point out that they brought that back for Battle of the Super Sons, which is an animated, where Superman brings back truth, justice in the American way, which they had previously gotten rid of during Superman, Son of Kal-El, with where Jonathan Kent takes over as Superman, and his entire identity becomes about being bisexual, and he doesn't actually do anything cool because Tom Taylor felt like he didn't have to write anything cool because he felt like that was enough of a story. And they got rid of truth, justice in the American way for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, which just sounds like a really creepy insurance ad saying or something. It sounds like
a better tomorrow for the common good.
Yeah, that's a creepy ad.
Assassinate the others.
Exactly. so we've got that. We got that saying back. We've got Superman coming back to Henry Cavill. There's a pendulum swinging back, folks.
How do you guys feel about the theory? Perhaps the fact that Henry Cavill was just ousted from the role and from that whole world for a while, simply because he didn't fit the agenda that they wanted superhero films to be pushing at the time, going into the mid 2010s. How do you guys feel about that? Because there was that post that he made on Instagram years ago where he tagged literally everyone.
I have that here.
He tagged. No, you didn't. I was just looking at this.
I have
earlier.
That pulled up here.
But he tagged Chris Pratt, Gal Gadot,
Gadot,
Ryan Reynolds, Chris Hemsworth, Ben Affleck, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo. He tagged Jason Momoa. He tagged Hugh Jackman, Margot Robbie, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel, Paul Bettany. He called for like literally everyone, and no one responded
Except
to
for
his
Jason.
post except for Jason Momoa.
He's
Like-
so pure. Like they say in here, like he's too pure for this world, man.
Why did they do that to him? Why was he basically cyberbullied?
I don't know.
Why would you hate this man?
It says here Henry is a true nerd, and I love him because of that. And somebody says he's a nerd with Greek god genetics. Like I said, there's that video of him putting a computer together that's got like millions of views because he's just got.
I don't know if he's as much of a nerd as they would like to believe, but
Look, when he got hired to play Superman, he missed the call because he was in the middle of a World of Warcraft game. When he got the
I
call,
never knew that.
Yeah,
don't you think that's a little bit of a Bill Murray bartending moment? A little bit of a quirky avant-garde moment.
I'm gonna just be contradictory to myself and say no.
So what if I contradict myself? I contain
I'm
multitudes,
yes,
says Brett Dassovich.
I don't give a crap if I disagree with, like, yeah, sure. When Bill Murray does it, I think it's planned and Hollywood spin. When Henry Cavill does it, I believe it just because I said so. And
Poor Henry Cavill.
You can't make me.
In his post, he captioned it on National Superhero Day. Fly your colors today, brothers and sisters. It's National Superhero Day. I personally want to thank all of you guys and gals for keeping us so entertained and setting such a fantastic example for superhero fans, young and old, around the world. And then all Jason Momoa commented was, love ya.
I'm sure that too, but I mean, I see a bunch
This
of names.
poor man.
I would like to think that like my cynical side says like these people just see it as a paycheck, but there's plenty of names in there that don't look at it that way. Hugh Jackman absolutely loved the role of Wolverine. Robert Downey Jr. very clearly took the role of Tony Stark seriously. You know, he turned his life around playing that role. A lot of those actors are very much like embrace those characters and don't think of them as less so. So I don't know if I buy that. Remember, Ben Affleck was a very similar thing. The first thing he did with his first big movie check was build like a bat cave in like his first house. He had like a life-size Batman statue. So to get to play Batman was a big deal to him. But I just think that, you know, in a world now where the number one thing working against these studios, and I truly do believe this, I don't think it's wokeness as much as it is hiring people that hate the people they're making stuff for. Right?
Yes.
Like, stop hating your fans and people will put up with mild wokeness. I'm not saying that make everything She-Hulk, but I'm saying that you can insert your stupid, lame, poorly done identity politics a little bit as long as the people aren't being told that they're awful people and that this movie was made to spite them.
That's certainly part of it, but not the whole story, because I think they just needed to bring back their flagship characters and the people who play them.
And they do.
So Henry Cavill obviously returning, and now they have Gal Gadot, who will appear in the Shazam sequel.
Bruce.
They've got Ben Affleck
in
about to
Aquaman.
appear in Aquaman.
The Flash is still out here.
The Flash is
hopefully being kept away from playgrounds and
uncertain future for the Flash.
No,
but a lot of people feel like DC is winning because they're just doing the things that are business smart. One of which is not hating your fan base, obviously.
Well, winning is let's not like
I don't believe that.
Let's
I don't
get
believe
through
that.
at least two
Some people are
movies.
saying that and getting ahead of themselves. That's all I'm saying.
Let's get through at least two movies that aren't awful.
People are getting their hopes up.
Let's get through two movies that don't absolutely blow.
Yeah, Black Adam.
To be fair,
I think it blows.
that we're gonna disagree there. But to be fair, Aquaman was extremely meh, but passable and fine. Shazam, I would say, was on the better end of good. Like, but they're not. They don't have that big breakout hit yet, right? They don't have that movie that. Oddly enough, I think the Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad soft reboot should have been that for them, but they were just dumb and released it day
The
and
first
date.
Suicide Squad movie weirdly had a lot of cultural impact, even though it sucked.
Oh yeah, in a weird way. Like
I don't even know why.
it was a textbook case of studio interference, meaning that movie was. If you watch the very first trailer, the Comic-Con 2014 or 2016 trailer for the first David Ayer Suicide Squad movie, it's very clear from that trailer, from the music choice, from the editing choice, from the color design, from the color correction design, that it was supposed to be a much darker movie.
And a lot of people went to it to see Jared Leto's Joker, and he got like a cameo, basically.
God. And
I think they cut down his parts last minute, seemingly.
He was supposed to
change the tone.
Yes, because the stuff that would have been included would have been about the abusive relationship between him and Harley Quinn, which would have been very hard to show in a movie. We're like, hey, listen to all this top 40 music we're playing, guys. Rad. Here's here's the Joker abusing Harley Quinn. In between top 40 songs.
Yeah. So like a lot of people went to the theaters to see that, expecting one thing, getting another, but it still made money for them because you don't factor in watch time if people walk out of the theater.
So we have this other article that says that Superman's former Warner Brothers executive Toby Emmerich reportedly declared Henry Cavill persona non grata. And it says that everyone knows the Black Adam spoiler by now. We don't need to mention it again. So it says, according to Post-Geek Singularity, Cavill's manager, who also works with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, remember, he will never just be Dwayne Johnson to me, pointed out to studio bosses that a cameo role would have served as one of the actor's contractually obligated appearances. As a result, Cavill obviously wanted to be compensated appropriately, but former Warner Brothers executive Toby Emmerich didn't agree. In that cameo for Shazam, they ended up just doing the cameo, but doing it from the shoulders down, so you couldn't see the face, so they didn't have to actually have Henry Cavill do it. And so after that, he basically said Henry Cavill is now persona non grata. He's not going to play ball with the studio. He'll never be Superman again. That just doesn't that sound like exactly something you see some
seem like the problem.
Coked out. But I'm saying, doesn't that sound like something he's saying? He's got contractual obligations and needs to be paid accordingly in relation to his star power and what he brings to that cameo. But can't you just see some coked out studio executive just sweating balls while he's like on the phone? It's like, and if he doesn't play ball, he's never gonna play Superman again. And he like slams the phone down. Doesn't that just sound like something he would say as he's like loosening his tie because he's like literally having like an aneurysm?
Like his face is beet red.
Yeah. And then of course Walter Hamada pushed back, and they wanted to do. In this article, they talk about wanting to do the Calvin Ellis Superman, which is not accurate from what I understand. The point was that they were going to do a regular Clark Kent Superman, but just race swap him, which made no sense. So I don't know if that article's wrong or my information is out of date, but they were talking about how replacing Henry Cavill for Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman, which would obviously be different. So
I don't know if they were talking about replacing him, but that would have been just an outlier sort of character study film.
But they just kept putting Cavill back in the movies. And then the worst part is like you have these people and it feels like they do their best to keep them off the line. They want to do the work. He wants to do these movies. He's like, yes, sign me up. I will make this movie. And they're like, how about we like argue with Cyborg and we hire Joss Whedon and we ruin these movies and we do literally anything but the most obvious thing, which is just to make a good Superman movie. Theoretically, should not be that hard. 10 years ago, I think the argument would have been that it's hard to make a good Superman movie because Superman's a Boy Scout and there's like a lot of like, it does feel like in Hollywood, there's that weird anti-American sentiment where they don't want to make a movie that portrays America in any type of good light, even if that means Superman being portrayed as like a hero for America rather than a worldwide hero. And now I think that there's absolutely being a cultural shift where there's money to be made and people are like, look, can you just not tell me that the country I live in is awful and give me a standard superhero movie?
It's not even just an anti-American sentiment, but an anti-male sentiment, an anti-white male sentiment that, pushed him out.
I mean, I don't know if that's true because they still did Batman versus Superman. They still did Batman.
But that was some weird failed attempt at subverting the narrative about Superman.
But they also did. Remember, they were supposed to do Cyborg as like the main character in the Justice League movie, and then the studio pushed back on that and like cut Cyborg's time down in that movie to next to nothing. And then when the Snyder Cut came out, you realize just how much time that character actually had. That doesn't seem to fit into that part of the narrative. It's like it's very, very all over the place and hard to understand. Like,
it could just be pure chaos and lack of leadership that leads to poor decision making.
More than likely, this is a case of just Warner Brothers. Remember, every time they announce something, I go, hold your horses. I get it. That sounds great, but Warner Brothers has a bad habit of making a bunch of announcements that are like, oh, everybody kind of likes this character right now. Yeah, we're going to make like 4 movies about this character and the TV show spinoff. And then they never do it.
And the scripts are already written.
And the scripts are already written. Oh, they're not? We'll just tell them that anyways. Like that's always what it feels like. There's never any type of solid leadership at Warner Brothers. So what David Zaslav is like, well, what makes money? Superman makes money. Superman is at the very least recognizable. Wonder Woman is recognizable. Batman is recognizable. They're still making the Blue Beetle movie, and I would argue that
I forgot about that.
Susan Sarandon is going to be in the Blue Beetle movie.
Okay.
So, it is what it is. But thank goodness that Henry Cavill is back, because like with The Witcher, when he was like the crappy, really awful mainstream, I don't think it was Collider, I don't remember who did it, but some snarky reporter tried to bait him into saying something negative about the fans, like, what do you think about like all those toxic fans? And he's like, well, I don't think they're toxic, they're just passionate. But like we always talk about how many of these celebrities get quoted out of context, where like some piece of garbage reporters like, so what do you think about these evil alt-right misogynist toxic fans? Like, what are they supposed to say to that? Like, I support evil alt-right misogynist toxic
and then
fans.
if you preface that saying, I don't think they're toxic, they're just for the most part passionate, but there's a certain faction or like corner of certain fan bases that act this way, then they'll only clip or quote that thing you said that was negative. I don't think that's fair to them, but also like they know how the media works and how they spin things.
Look at the picture of Henry Cavill they use in this when they show the thing of him.
Pure smile.
Like,
it's just like looking
hi,
for
like
a crumb of validation or respect or recognition, and there was just none.
He's like, hi guys, and they're all just like, shut up.
Hey, remember me? I exist.
Like, he's such a good guy. Leave him alone. Leave the guy alone. I'm saying, like, look, could he be awful behind closed doors and just an absolute terror? Maybe, but I don't know. Hey, maybe it's a conspiracy. Remember, he dated Gina Carano. Maybe they're just like, screw him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they dated back in like 2013.
That's funny.
So maybe they're just like, anybody that has anything to do with Gina Carano, we don't want anything to do with. Also, it could be part of like he did like an anti-Me Too thing, kind of, where he was like, yeah, dating right now is insane because I don't know what women, hoes be tripping, basically. I mean, hoes be tripping, like in a British accent.
Hoes be tripping. And
so, yes, we support more Henry Cavill, absolutely. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.